In May 2001, Leeds United reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. Little did supporters know that the next few decades would prove to be disastrous in the club's history. But what happens if you bring the man who finally restored their Premier League status to the club 12 years before he arrived in reality? What impact can he have on Leeds back then? Let's find out. So it's July 2006 and Bielsa is in Yorkshire, and what a job he has on his hands. In reality, Leeds United would finish in 24th place in the Championship this season, falling all the way down to England's third tier. When you look at the squad, it's not actually that surprising. There's just 18 senior players, 4 of which are there on loan from other clubs. Primarily, it looks like the defence needs reinforcements. The only area with any serious depth looks to be up front with Robbie Blake, Torreandre Flo and David Healy. Sean Derry is probably amongst the best players in the squad right now, and his experience in the division should be imperative to any success. Let's advance to the end of the season and see what Marcelo can do. It's May 2007, and reassuringly, he's still at the club. With a small budget he's been allocated, he's brought in 4 new players. Despite this, they just missed out on a place in the playoffs. A final day defeat against Cardiff City meant that for another season Leeds would find themselves in England's second tier. At least they weren't relegated though. And there were some bright points in the season. 2 25-goal seasons from Torreandre Flo and Robbie Blake saw them finish the second highest scoring team in the league. With a slightly meaner defence, they easily could have squeezed in and had a shot at a quick return to the Premier League. Of all the signings they made, Stephen Naismith was probably the most impactful. He registered 9 goals and assists in the league, and definitely looks like a Bielsa kind of player. Let's advance another season and see whether they can make it. It's now May 2008, and once again Leeds fall agonisingly short of a playoff spot. This time, despite finishing lower, they actually missed out on just goal difference. On the final day of the season, things were looking great when Preston North End went down to 10 men, but even that advantage wasn't enough to see Leeds move into the top 7. Earlier in the season, they were pushing for an automatic spot, but with the Championship being such a difficult league, their hopes were dashed by the end. The squad is continuing to change though. George Lopez has proved a good signing from Valencia. And finally, with enough players to fill the team bus, it's looking like they may be able to finally get themselves over the line, at least for a playoff spot next season. Let's move to 2009 and see if that can be the year. And it's finally happened. After 3 long seasons, 2 which ended pretty painfully, Leeds have finally returned to the big time. In the first round of the playoffs, they overcame local rivals Barnsley 4-3 on aggregate. This led to another Yorkshire derby in the playoff final. After tying the game 2-2, they went down to the lottery of penalties, but overcame Sheffield United 4-3. The squad he's built is definitely getting deeper, but I'm not sure this will have the requisite quality to stay in the Premier League. He's going to need to be backed with a good war chest to acquire some quality players. Let's see what he can do in England's top flight. Another year has passed, and Bielsa remains with Leeds United. On arrival in the Premier League, he was provided with £1.5 million to reinforce the squad. He's actually brought in some pretty impressive signings considering how much he had. Raphael, Robbie Earnshaw, and Oswaldo Chirant was the most expensive of all. Once again, a high stamina player with good work rate, he should fit in pretty well to the system which is being employed at Leeds. In their first season back in the Prem, they did manage to avoid relegation. The defence was pretty porous though, as they conceded 72 goals in 38 games. Luckily, the goal-scoring form of Mayong Zay meant that they could reach the 40-point barrier and ensure their survival for next season. Likewise, Robbie Earnshaw played a pivotal part too with 9 goals. Defensively, it looks quite worrying though for the future. Let's see if they can build on this in the next 12 months, or whether a return to the Championship could be on the cards. It's the end of Leeds' second season in the Premier League. There's been some fantastic results this season. 3-0 here against Chelsea. They even triumphed at Old Trafford too. But unfortunately, there are also some horrific scorelines. They've ended up returning to the Championship after just 2 years. Funnily enough, this was actually the first season where Bielsa received major financial backing. After the calamitous defending last season, they brought in Alan Galindo to shore up the back line. Considering they conceded 23 fewer goals, it was pretty successful. Once again, the forwards had pretty successful campaigns. And if you look closely at the table, Leeds were pretty unfortunate to be relegated, especially as they made it to 44 points. So it's been 5 years in charge for Marcelo. Out of the 241 matches, he's won 96, or 39%. He kept the purse strings pretty tight, only spending around £11 million. Compared with the ignominy which Leeds United endured in reality, I think they'd have bitten your hands off for this alternate reality. Despite him leaving the club in 2022, I think it's safe to say his tenure will always be fondly remembered by fans of the club. Thank you for watching this video.